All right, this is the concept development for lesson 11 with module 2. Okay, so yesterday we worked on multiplying decimals and whole digit numbers. So we're going to do the same thing today and just kind of focus in that skill. One thing I want you to look at is this problem. How is this problem different from what we worked on yesterday? So yesterday we were working with numbers that just had a tenths, and today we're working on numbers that also have a hundredths, a number in the hundredths place. So the first thing we're going to do when we are solving these problems is to estimate what we think the answer could be. That way we'll get a reasonable answer for where we can guide ourselves and see what our actual answer could be when we solve it. So I would round 7.38 to the nearest whole number, 7, and 41 to 40. That makes it really easy. 7 times 4 I know is 280. Because 7 times 4 is 28, and then add a 0. So the last thing I want you to be aware of is, will our actual answer be greater or less than our estimate? So that's something to keep in mind. Is this number bigger or smaller than this? This number is bigger. And then is this number bigger or smaller than this? And that one is also bigger. So that means our answer to our actual problem is going to be a little bit bigger than our estimate because we rounded down and rounded down. So this is going to be smaller than our actual answer. So that way don't worry when you get something and it's larger than 280. So those steps are what we're going to work on, and we're going to solve this problem by using an area model first and then the standard algorithm. Okay, the first step is to rename the unit to the smallest place value. So I'm looking at this and I see that the hundredths is the smallest. So I'm going to rename that as 738 hundredths. So that makes that 700 hundredths, 30 hundredths, and 8 hundredths. I'm just breaking apart each digit. And I'm using hundredths because that is my smallest unit. So the reason how I got those is I'm looking at my hundredths place, filling in some zeros. So that makes 700 hundredths is what that 7 is worth. That 3 is worth 30 because I'm adding a 0 until I get to the hundredths, 30 hundredths, and then that 8 is worth obviously just 8 hundredths. So here's how I use these numbers to make an area model. Okay, so when you set this problem up, you should have a column for each of those digits. So I have my 700 hundredths, my 30 hundredths, and my 8 hundredths all at the top of my area model, and then I've broken up my 40 into the two digits, 40 and 1, to make it really easy, and I can do all of this math in my head. And my dog is barking. So 7 times 4, we know that is 28. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and set this up so that you can work this out along with me. And I'm counting 1, 2, 3 zeros. Now I'm going to go across and see what meets here. It's a 30 and a 40. That makes 12 with 1, 2 zeros. Here's 4 and 8. 4 times 8 is 32 with 1 0. Now all of this is just times 1, so that's pretty easy. 730 and 8. So what I'm going to do is add up these numbers just straight down, straight down, straight down, so that I don't have 6 numbers to add up, I only have 3. And I can even do that really quickly. I know that 28,700 makes 28,700. Hal's trying to be famous. Then I have 1,200 and then 30. That makes 1,230. And then 320 plus 8 makes 328. So now what I'm going to do is add up these 3 numbers so that I can get my problem. Okay, so when I added them all up, I got 30,258, which is a huge number, especially when considering what my estimate was. Do you guys remember back when I did that? I did 7 times 40, and I ended up with 280. So I know that this does not match this, so where would my decimal go in this to make that make sense, to be close to 280? And I even said that my actual answer was going to be a little bit bigger. So where would my decimal go for it to make sense? And right here makes the most sense. I also know, I can also tell where my decimal goes because I multiplied hundredths and I know that I have to have a digit in the hundreds column, so that would be where that decimal would have to go. So let's do that using the standard algorithm also. Here it is, I've set it up. I'm just going to start multiplying. 8, 3, 7, add my placeholder 0. 4 times 8 is 32. That makes 12, 13, 14, 15. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 more makes 29. Let's add it all up. 8, 5, 12, 10. Okay. So either way, I'm counting over 1, 2, 1, 2. Or I could rename this as 738 hundredths and know that's hundredths and find it the same way. Either way, I'm still getting the same answer, which is awesome. For the next problem, before we begin that, I'm going to give you a special password. That special password must be told to your teacher once it is in a phrase, and I'm going to give you one of these randomly in the next 2 concept development problems. The word is Pomeranians. Write that down, but don't tell your friends. Okay, Pomeranians. Okay, so I have 302 and 58 hundredths. Let's do this a couple more times. The first thing we're going to do is estimate. So I know that 8 and 26 hundredths is pretty close to 8, and 128, I'm going to round that all the way down to 100. Is our actual answer going to be more or less? Well, I rounded. This number is larger than this. This number is larger than this, so that means our answer for this is going to be larger than this. So just keep that in mind, around 800. Okay, now if you are totally fluent in the standard algorithm and area models don't make sense to you, then just do the standard algorithm and skip the video part of the area models. If area models are what makes sense to you and standard algorithm is confusing, then just do the area models. I'm going to have answers for both ways. Your job is to choose the way that makes the most sense to you, okay? All right, so the first way I'm going to do is an area model, and I'm looking at each of these digits and breaking it up. So I have 800, 20, and 6, and these are all hundredths. Oh, that doesn't look like the word hundredths, but trust me, it is. Whoa. Okay, and then I'm breaking up 128. So those of you who like area models and you feel good about it, this will be a good setup for you. For those of you who like standard algorithm, just fast forward a little bit till we get to that part. Okay, I'm going to do the math for this. If you haven't done so, you set yours up also. Pause the video while you solve this out. Okay, here's what your table should look like. Double check that you have all the right zeros. Now the next thing is we're going to add up each column so that we only have to add up 3 numbers together. Okay, so you should have gotten 102,400, 2,560, and 768. So now I'm going to add all those numbers up to get our final answer. You do this on your own and pause the video. Okay, I have 8, 12, I know that that makes 5, 10, 17, that makes 5, 1, 0. Okay, but that does not make sense at all with my estimate. I know my original estimate, if we look way back, remember it was 8 times 100, which was 800. So where would my decimal go? That 800 would be pretty close to this gigantic number. Hopefully you have said right there. Because we did say it's going to be a little bit larger, and 1,000 is a little bit bigger than 800. But it wouldn't make sense to go here, it wouldn't make sense to go here, it wouldn't make sense to go here. 1,000 is the closest to 800, that makes the most sense. I could also look back at my problem and know 1, 2 hops in, 1, 2 hops in, and that would tell me, or that I multiplied hundredths long ago, and this digit has to have a hundredths, a digit in the hundredths place. So that's the only thing that makes sense. Okay, here's the standard algorithm version of it. You're just multiplying one number at a time. So I start with my ones place, and I'm going to start with the ones place. So ones goes to ones, tens, hundreds, until I get each row. Okay, here's my first row. Done with that, add one placeholder because I'm scooting over one place. Now I'm going to multiply all these. Okay, check yourself with the second row. I'm done with the 2. Now I need to add 2 placeholders because I'm scooting over 2 places. Now I'm going from my only number I have left to the smallest place, ones, or the hundredths place, not the ones place. Hundredths, then tenths, then ones. So that would be, and here's what I got. And the good news is it matches what I got with the area model. So 1, 2 hops over, 1, 2 hops over gives me my final answer. Okay, your secret code word is the word R. Okay, last one. I want you to ask yourself those same questions. So estimate it first. I rounded that to 80 and this to 60, so a close answer would be 4,800. And then look at it. This number is higher than this one. This number is higher than this one. So our actual answer is going to be higher than what we estimated here. Just be aware of that. But it's going to be pretty close to 4,800, somewhere around that. Okay, for my area model, you set it up with each of the numbers in the places, and then unpause the video when you're ready to check yourself. Okay, here's what it should look like, except I just drew on the paper. So I have 4 boxes here because I have 4 digits, 2 boxes here because I have 2 digits, and I broke this into 8,000 hundredths, 200 hundredths, 50 hundredths, and 100th, and I got that again by just 8,000 till I get to my my hundredths place. Go ahead and fill this in and unpause the video when you're ready to check it. Okay, here are the answers that I got. So we're going to add up each column so that we only have, or we have fewer numbers to deal with. Unpause the video when you're ready to check it. Here are the numbers I got for each of those rows. And all we have to do now is add them up. 11, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, and a 5. Okay, thinking back about my original estimation, I think it was 80 times 60, which was 4,800. So where would my decimal go that would make it make sense? Here? No, that's not close to 4,800. Here? No. Here? Yes. 5,000 is close to 4,800, so this makes sense. Now let's do the standard algorithm. Okay, I'm just multiplying up and across. Go ahead and solve this out and check your work by unpausing the video when you're ready. All right, here is what I got, and I can use either counting the number of hops, 1, 2 hops, knowing that I'm multiplying hundredths, so my answer will have hundredths, or my estimation of what was reasonable, around 4,800, so that's pretty close. Okay, your secret password in order for you to get your problem set is furry. So put all of those 3 words together and you will have your password code for your problem set. See your teacher.